À ce moment-ci,
At this time, pursuant to Standing Order 38, a motion to adjourn the House is deemed to have been made and seconded at this time. Therefore, the question is that this House do now adjourn. The Honourable Member for Abitibi-Témiscamingue. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would like to come back to one of my questions concerning a contract with XC. When I had asked the Minister for an explanation about the contract, he responded to me that this was a specialized company that prepared soldiers for dangerous missions, and it was essential for Canadian forces. And I would quote, "We give members of the Canadian forces the best possible training in order that they're prepared to accomplish their missions successfully." I wasn't really satisfied with that response. Apparently, I'm not the only one. I received an email from a Canadian citizen, and I would like to read that email, Madam Speaker.
With the Oshawa, I watch question period every day. Over the past few months, I have become increasingly concerned about the government paying Blackwater to train our troops. I would like to thank you for your question in the House of Commons on this issue.
And I want to say that this individual, Mr. Joseph Ureneski, comes from a conservative riding, that of the Minister of Finance, and he asked the same thing that I do. How is it that the government is hiring American mercenaries to train our troops? This question raises concerns among the public, and not just in NDP ridings, but also in conservative-held ridings. So I think that we need an explanation. And I would like to say that I'm talking about XC, but I could also call it Academy or Blackwater. This company has changed its name 3 times over the last 3 years because of the reputation that it has earned. If I had a company that changed its name for unknown reasons, well, I would say that I wouldn't have a great deal of confidence in dealing with that company, but apparently it doesn't concern anyone in the government too much. So XE Services or Academy, the latest name to date, is a private American security company which was subject to very serious controversy. This company was accused of being involved in 2007 during a shooting in Iraq that caused 17 civilian deaths, including women and children, and 20 people injured in Afghanistan as well. This company was accused, the workers of the company were accused of having killed innocent civilians. In October 2007, a report published by the House of Representatives in the United States said that Blackwater had been involved in 195 shootings in Afghanistan and Iraq. In 85% of those cases, the Blackwater employees were those who opened fire. Because of the incident in 2007, the Minister of Foreign Affairs refused to renew the contract with Blackwater to protect American diplomats in Iraq. And the Iraqi government refused Blackwater to work within its borders. And I think that this, too, we have to be suspicious when we talk about these kinds of things. But for the Department of National Defense, there are no questions. Then for 5 former employees, Blackwater were accused of 14 murders and injury of other people in that country as well. So I have some questions, or I would ask questions before I hire people like this to train Canadian forces. But for the minister, it's no problem. It's all fine and well for Canada not to have the proper infrastructure to train our forces, and that we have to call on outside contractors. But my question is simple. The government hasn't managed to find any other company than that one that's been accused of shootings, non-respect of civilian rights, and to use this company to train our troops. How can Blackwater XE Academy be the best choice to train our troops, and how can the minister let a team of American mercenaries who believe they're above the law train our troops? The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Industry.
Madam Speaker, and I'll start by actually commending the translator for being able to keep up with that. I think that was about a 6-minute speech in a 4-minute time span, so kudos to the translator for being able to keep up. I would like to thank my honourable friend for this important question. First, let me start by saying that this government is committed to implementing the Canada First Defence Strategy, which ensures the Canadian forces have the people, equipment, infrastructure, and readiness required to defend Canada and Canadian interests now and well into the future. The Canadian Forces' most valuable resource is its trained personnel. The CF recognized that there must be a strong focus on updating training and equipment in order to conduct operations and maintain their ability to deploy on short notice within Canada, in North America, and abroad. The Department of National Defence and the Canadian Forces are taking all necessary steps to ensure that the men and women of the CF have access to the best training facilities available. When considering the location of troop training and preparation, it's important to choose a location that offers the best training value for the standards that are needed to be achieved. Academy, formerly XE Services or Blackwater, has facilities in North Carolina that offer a number of technical ranges and specialized defensive driving circuits. While CF personnel received training primarily in precision shooting and defensive driving, some CF personnel also received training in very important person escort requirements and close-quarter combat techniques as part of a close protection course. Canadian Forces personnel typically provide their own expertise to conduct the training at Academy facilities, with the facilities instructors providing technical training when CF personnel are not available due to a high operational tempo. The training conducted at these U.S. facilities is highly specialized and operationally essential for a wide range of CF members deploying on international missions, including military police, special forces, and Army operational support. The Canadian Forces use Academy facilities for a number of reasons. Either the facilities do not exist in Canada, Canadian facilities exist but cannot accommodate the required volume of training, or adverse weather conditions, especially in the winter months, prevent CF facilities from being used. Contracting facilities for short periods of time is also the most cost-effective alternative to investing in expansive infrastructure that will be used only a few times a year to meet unique training requirements. The CF first began using Academy, or Blackwater's U.S. Training Center, in 1997, and a standing offer arrangement was awarded to the company in 2008 because it was the only facility capable of meeting the operational requirements for the specialized training of CF personnel. Recently, more private companies have emerged and established similar facilities. With a wider range of options to meet future training requirements, the CF will continue to explore all opportunities to provide our troops with the best training possible. The issues raised surrounding the conduct of Blackwater personnel while providing close protection in Iraq in 2007 did not involve the type of training that the CF received at the time and continue to receive today. I would also like to emphasize that the Canadian Forces conduct their operations in accordance with applicable international and domestic law. The Canadian Forces stand ready to fulfill the government's vision as a modern, first-class military, and this government is committed to providing the military with the support it needs so that our troops can continue to do the important work that is asked of them. At the same time, the Department of National Defence and the Canadian Forces are committed to making the best use of tax dollars and will focus resources in order to deliver on commitments made in the Canada First defence strategy and to establish the most capable and sustainable defence organization possible. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Abitibi-Témiscamingue. Madam Speaker, in addition to hiring a company known for having killed civilians in Iraq and Afghanistan to train our troops, the government is doing so without a tender call. In 2005 and 2010, the Department of National Defence has spent $7.7 million in contracts with that company, and $5.4 million were spent for that company after the massacre in 2007 in Baghdad. The government doesn't seem to ask its question after the death of 17 innocent civilians. Why not a tender call? In response to my question, the Minister of Defence said that our Canadian Forces deserve the best training possible. Does he believe that training our forces with the use of mercenaries who don't respect international laws and who are accused of war crimes is the best training possible? Does he not believe that being associated with Blackwater XE Services or Academy, what have you, is dragging our troops through the mud? Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
The Department of National Defence and the Canadian Forces endeavour to provide our men and women in uniform with access to state-of-the-art training facilities. Access to these facilities has a direct impact on the ability of the troops to carry out their missions and tasks. This training is operationally essential. It contributes to the safety and security of CF personnel operating in potentially hostile environments, such as Afghanistan, where roughly 950 Canadian Forces trainers and support personnel are contributing to the NATO training mission. The government is committed to implementing the Canada First Defence Strategy to ensure that the Canadian Forces have the people, equipment, infrastructure, and readiness necessary to defend Canada and Canadian interests now and well into the future. Canadians can take pride in having one of the most professional and best-trained militaries in the world. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Scarborough Rouge River.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would also like to